What up, YouTube? It's your boy Juby here, and today I'm coming at you with my first deck profile video. I've been putting this off for some time since I didn't really know how to commentate deck profile videos, but I figured I might as well get around to it. Anyway, this is my cubic deck profile. It's the deck I trust the most, the first deck I built for actual competition, and it's the most consistent I have so far. Seeing as my Cyber's deck is still roughly in the final stages of construction, I feel like I should do this one first, and then, like in a day or two, do the Cyber's deck profile. Still debating on whether I want to use this for the next upcoming regional or the Cyber's deck, but I'll decide that later. Anyway, let's get started. Alright, so first you want to run 3 VJON the Cubic Seed. This is the main engine of the deck, and if you want to run 3 of these, then you want to run at least one of each of the other cubics that utilize VJump as a summoning mechanic. So 1 Dark Garnix, 1 Blade Garudia, and 2 Buster Gundil. Now the reason I have this at 2 is because before Link era, I had a bunch of rank 4 Xyz monsters, and Unification of the Cubic Lords could summon this guy. And this plus Cubic Karma and Cubic Wave plus the 3 attack ability, it really made the deck. It really made it really functional. And if God forbid it was negated, or the effects were negated, I mean, I could just Xyz it into a rank 4 monster. Yeah, I used this many times to get Dark Rebellion or Utopia out on the field. Anyway, let's move on. You also want to run 1 Gyra Geel, 1 Vulcan Dragny, and 1, let me see there, Indiora Doomvolt, the Cubic Emperor. This is the same deal as Buster Gundil. It's easy for generic rank 4s. And all 3 of these are actually fairly easy to summon out with Unification, so you can also inflict effect damage, which is great with one of the certain combos in my deck, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, next, of course, 3 Duza, the Meteor Cubic Vessel. This is the main normal summoning monster of the deck. It's basically a Foolish Burial or Foolish Burial Goods. You can get a cubic monster or a cubic spell, like Cubic Karma, in the graveyard. Then you can banish it, add a monster like, say, Crimson Nova to your hand, or banish Unification of the Cubic Lords, and then when you use a card like Monster Gate, you can activate the banishing effect of Unification, and boom, you get another monster. And, of course, 3 Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. Now, this is the big bad boss of the main deck. All you need to do is just reveal 3 cubic cards in your hand and 3 other cubic cards with different names, and you can special summon it. And the reason I love this card so much now, especially because of Link era, is because I have in my extra deck the Topologic Bomber Dragon that I pulled in the sneak. And I figured out a combination that I can do with this. Let me show you. Okay, so I link into Topologic Bomber. Alright, yeah, it's centered. Alright, then my opponent has a field full of monsters. Boom, I summon Crimson Nova. The field gets nuked, but Crimson Nova stays because it's unaffected by monsters' activated effects with 3,000 attack or less. And guess where Topologic fits? Right on the edge. Yeah, so that was why I was hoping to pull it. And by some stroke of luck, I did. It's like it was waiting for me. Anyway, 2 Summoner Monks. These are good to get the cubic spells in the graveyard, such as Cubic Karma. You can banish it and then add Crimson Nova to your hand. And you can special summon for your deck to also get Duza, so either way you can probably get a cubic card in your graveyard with this card. And lastly for monsters, here's 1 Max C. I had this at 2, but after it got hit, I had to cut it down. But it's still very helpful. I try to keep a Max C in every deck that I use. Alright, so that's it for monsters. Now on to the spells. 3 Cubic Karma. This is the banishing to add a cubic card to your hand spell. And this is what makes V-Jump the main engine of the deck. It's what increases cubic monsters' attacks. I've bumped up Crimson Nova and Crimson Nova Trinity really high with this. So yeah, it's a great card to have. Next, 3 Cubic Wave. This is basically Dark Rebellion's effect on steroids, and you can banish this along with a number of monsters in your graveyard to place cubic counters on your opponent's monsters. Alright, now 2 Twin Twisters. You can easily discard a cubic spell or trap with this, or a cubic monster to activate Dusa's effect. Anyway, backfield is kind of a vulnerability, but this takes care of it. Now again, backfield is a vulnerability in every deck. All right. 1 Reasoning. If your opponent doesn't know what kind of deck you're playing at the start, and they declare the wrong level, usually level 4 is what you want to get. So if they declare something like a level 3, then boom, you're okay. And if they call level 4, then oh well, you at least got some other cards in the graveyard. But it's good because, like I said, you can get Cubic Karma, Cubic Wave, Unification of the Cubic Lords in the graveyard. So it's basically an extra Foolish Burial Goods. Alright. Monster Gate. Tribute 1 monster and summon 1 from your deck. Well, actually, yeah. So until you find a monster that can be special. Yeah. That's why I use it with Unification of the Cubic Lords in the graveyard. Because when I tribute a cubic monster with this, I can get a monster from my deck. So it's 2 monsters for the price of 1. Alright, then Upstart Goblin. Draw 1 card, your opponent gains 1,000 life points. This is a card pretty much everybody has in their deck. Every good duelist should have it. 1 Soul Charge. Now being able to not enter the battle phase with this card is a small price to pay, considering Crimson Nova has this damage effect. So yeah, that's really helped me out a lot. And speaking of Crimson Nova, Fusion Conscription. This can be used to reveal Crimson Nova Trinity, then add a Crimson Nova from your deck to your hand. Unfortunately, you can't summon it after you use this. So, as long as you have 1 Crimson Nova out, it should be fine. Alright, Recurring Nightmare. Now this is really helpful in the deck. Add 2 dark monsters with 0 defense from your graveyard to your hand. Basically, if you summon 2 Crimson Nova, 2 other cubic monsters, link them all into link 4, then you can use this to get 2 Crimson Nova back and then summon them again. That's why I wanted to use this in conjunction with Crimson Nova and Topologic Bomber Dragon, because this basically recycles link materials. I had 2 of these, but since as you guys know, my Cubic deck was stolen, I had bumped it down to 1 since I didn't want to buy a second one, and I got Monster Reincarnation. Now, this is also like a Foolish Burial or Foolish Burial Goods if you want to get a cubic spell or trap in the graveyard in order to get a monster back to your hand. So you can use this to recycle Dusa, Crimson Nova, any monster. Alright, that's it for spells. Now onto the traps, which I have very few of. 3, Unification of the Cubic Lords, basically used to summon the big fusion monster of this deck. Excuse me. Yeah, and then banish it from the graveyard. Special summon a cubic monster from your deck. Can't be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. Alright. A Mirror Force, the staple of many decks. A Storming Mirror Force, which will be very good for the upcoming Link era, since everybody's going to be using them. It just sends them back to the extra deck, since they can't be in your hand. And speaking of links, Break Off Trap Hole. Since links are going to be very common, I'm probably going to be using this I'm going to be running at least 1. So that way, if yeah, you get the point. Alright, anyway, that's it for my main deck, so now on the extra deck. Alright, you are on 1 Crimson Nova, the Trinity, the Dark Cubic Lord. Like I said, it's the big bad fusion monster. yeah, basically use this to cut your opponent's life points in half, and any effect damage that's inflicted to you gets inflicted right back to them as well. So yeah, if they ever try to damage you, you can use this against them. Alright, that's for fusion. Now the Xyz, Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. This is one of my favorites. I've used this in pretty much all the decks I've used in regionals. Well, ever since Arc 5 started. So yeah. And I also have Castel in here. This can be used to just put something back into the opponent's deck or extra deck. It's very handy. One Gaga Cowboy, which I can either use to just overpower an opponent's monster or just inflict effect damage, which actually on numerous occasions has gotten me the win with just this effect. Alright, number 101, Silent Honor Arc. Now, I have a question in the comments because I haven't been able to confirm this. Right. Crimson Nova. I know it's not affected. It's not affected by monsters' activated effects whose original attack is 3,000 or less. But at the same time, people have used this to target Crimson Nova and attach it. Once or twice, that's actually screwed me. I've been able to dodge it a few other times. But comment down below if that's allowed, because I don't think it is. Now that I think about it. Alright, moving on. Alright, Anti-Luminescent Knight. Now, this is basically an effect dodging card. You can use this to redirect any effect to an opponent's monster. That's why I have it in there. Alright, number 39, Utopia. Now, I have this in here for a reason, and you'll see it later, so that I can rank it up into number C39, Utopia Ray, and then rank that up into number S39, Utopia the Lightning. This way I can use Utopia's battle effect twice. Yeah, so that's really helped me out in a few duels. Alright, now for the rank 10s, number 81, Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Superdora. It's basically makes a monster unaffected by other cards' effects. And Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. This just is more effect damage. So that's it for Xyz's. Now, on to the Link monsters. I run 2 Decode Talkers. Now, this has been very helpful in the last sneak, seeing as you can just summon a monster to... You can just summon a monster to your field, such as Crimson Nova. It powers Decode Talker up, attack, attack, end phase, boom, effect. Alright, let's clean all this up. And the last two. My personal favorite, Firewall Dragon. I'm still in awe that I pulled this in the sneak when I was hoping to. So yeah, this is the generic Link 4. Now, I'm planning on... I'm not sure if I want to do this, but I know that the card Scapegoat works wonders if you activate this on the end of your opponent's turn, and then link into this. It's just a really helpful. So I'm planning on probably switching maybe Break Off Trap Hole with Scapegoat. Comment down what you guys think I should do. And lastly, Topologic Bomber Dragon. I've already explained what it does. It's basically a field nuke and can keep certain monsters of mine on the field. So that's why I wanted it here. I call the Topologic and Crimson Nova strategy Formation Crimson. Alright, so that's it for this video. If you guys like this commentary and you're new to the channel, please click the like and subscribe buttons. Every subscription helps my channel grow. Also, comment down below some of the deck profiles you think I should start doing. Keep in mind, I do have a budget, so yeah. Until next time, this is Juby. Peace.